What is really the truth about being a listing agent? Let's get to it. What's going on, everyone? Loida with Team DC at eXp Realty. And that's right, I want to share with you, based on my experience, the reality of being a listing agent. So I have been in this business for over 7 years, and when I first got into real estate, I started going after for sale by owners and expireds. I remember back then I wanted to focus on going after sellers and listings, and I knew that these type of leads were going to be very difficult in the sense that these are people that might have had a bad experience with an agent, or they just don't like agents at all. So I knew that I would have to sharpen my skills and become so good in my communication to be able to have great conversations with these type of leads so that they could see the value that I brought as an agent. So long story short, I was role playing every single day for at least 1 hour, and I was mastering the craft and mastering all of the objections I could ever encounter regarding expireds and for sale by owners. Objections regarding commission, price, what are you gonna do to get my home sold? And you guys get the point. So if you're a listing agent in comparison to being a buyer's agent, which I recently did a video, you guys can check it out, is that once you have a contract for a listing and you put it on the market, that's really it in terms of you having to drive around and go places. So unlike being a buyer's agent where your schedule is pretty much dependent on your client's availability, on the listing side, you just go meet with the seller, get the paperwork signed or whatever it is that you do it. But that's really the only time that you have to go out of your way and drive somewhere. Now, other times that you will invest time and money and driving will be, for example, to host an open house, which I highly recommend if you're able to do so. Why? Because this will allow you to meet other people that might be potential buyers or maybe neighbors that are thinking about selling their home as well. Now, if you are going to be doing an open house, I strategically do it and teach my agents to do it a specific way. And that is that in the days leading up to the open house, you want to cold call that neighborhood or door knock it to invite everyone to that open house. You can kind of use this as an excuse to promote the open house, but at the same time start promoting yourself as that neighborhood agent so that the neighbors know that you're that agent that's selling that house. And hopefully if you're watching this and if you've been watching my videos, you know how much I stress the importance of listing a property properly. You want to make sure that the home is actually going to sell. The last thing you want happening is that you overprice a home or the home sits and it expires and then now you're known as that agent that couldn't sell that house. Let's go back to the fact that you're going to go out and door knock and cold call, letting everyone know about your listing that just went on the market or the open house that you're going to have. And as you're going through your script, you're going to ask these homeowners as well if they have thought about making a move or if they have any plans in the future. This is how you start to collect people's information for potential future sellers or maybe even buyers. So one of the lines that you can say is that, hey, you know, I just listed your neighbor's home down the street, 3-bed, 2-bath, 600,000. Do you happen to know anyone that might be looking to move into this neighborhood? If you see what I said there is that I asked them if they know of anyone looking to move. I didn't ask them if they were looking to sell. Later on in my conversation, I get to that point. So that is one of the benefits of you being a listing agent. You can leverage your listing to get potentially other clients, whether it's buyers or sellers. Now, one of the crazy parts about being a listing agent, especially for the past 2 years, is that you've probably gotten multiple offers. Now, when you get multiple offers as a listing agent, it can be very tricky and very confusing to try to figure out who sent what, the prices, the terms, and all of that. So this is what I recommend. I have seen a lot of agents do this, and this will help you be organized. Have a spreadsheet where you are putting, for example, the name of the agent or the client, the price that they submitted the offer for, the terms, like the contingency periods, the deposit, the type of loan, and any additional stuff that might make or break possibly that offer. So for example, if an offer is contingent or if it's cash, but they want, you know, a 60-day escrow or something like that, whatever that is, you want to put that in that spreadsheet. Now, when you do this, as soon as, you know, these offers are coming in, by the time that you get together with the seller and present it, you'll be able to have this spreadsheet that you can clearly see exactly how many offers you have, how many offers are conventional, FHA, cash, the earnest money deposit, the prices, and all of that. So this will really help you. Now, once you are reviewing offers as a listing agent, it is your job to make sure that whatever buyer your seller and yourself decide is the best one to move forward with, you have to make sure that they are actually qualified. So what I like to do is that before we accept an offer, I also like to reach out to the lender just to make sure that the buyer has actually submitted all of their paperwork to get fully approved, and it's not just like an over the phone type of approval. So I go the extra steps because, again, I'm representing my seller, and if I don't do a good job and the deal falls out of escrow, then they're gonna be looking at me like, hey Loida, you know, they just wasted my time, you just wasted my time, what's going on? I thought that I was hiring you to get the job done. And that's the last thing that we want happening. Now, because the market has been crazy the past couple years, with it being a seller's market, low inventory, we have seen homes go on the market that are really overpriced, but because there is no inventory, they still go under contract. But what I have noticed is that they end up falling out of escrow, and many times the seller decides to pull the property off the market. I'll tell you this, 20, 40, 60 offers in a weekend, we're probably not going to see that type of activity anymore. In fact, right now, as of the time of this recording, we are starting to see the market slow down. Homes are taking longer to sell. There are a lot of properties that are also requiring price reductions. So if you're a listing agent, it's really going to come down to you having a conversation with your seller and letting them know that the market is not possibly where it was 6 months ago or last year. As a listing agent, you have to have sometimes very difficult conversations with your clients, especially at listing appointments, when they are not realistic on the price. Now, what might happen is that a lot of sellers right now might think that, hey, you know, my friend Susie sold her house last year and she got $70,000 above asking price in 5 days. Well, you know what? And this is me talking to my client as an agent. I would tell them, you know what? Unfortunately, we're not in the same market as we were last year, so I can't guarantee that we're gonna get you, you know, $70,000 above asking price. And that is why we have to be really, really careful when it comes to pricing the home, making sure that it's priced correctly, because nowadays what we're seeing is that homes are taking longer to sell. Now, I'm not saying that they're gonna sell below asking price, because in fact, I recently sold a property where it took 30 days to go under contract, but we still sold it $25,000 above asking price and it appraised. But that's just a change in the activity that we're getting. So these are conversations that you now have to be having with sellers, letting them know what the reality of the market is right now, just in case they think they might get the same results as their friends did last year. When it comes to being a listing agent during a transaction, there are a few things that you will need to make sure that happen. First, you're gonna have to make sure that the buyer is sticking to the timeline as to when things need to get done. So for example, the inspection, the appraisal, the loan approval, all of that, you have to be on them, because if they don't, and for some reason they decide to cancel and contingencies are not removed, at that point, especially in California, you know, the buyer can back out and keep their deposit. If you're a listing agent, just remember that your job is to look out for your seller. So if a buyer is not performing and they have passed certain deadlines, it is your job to send a notice to perform, and if they don't perform, then at that point you can cancel. Hopefully it doesn't get to that point, but you have to be very strict and know that these deadlines really have to be met. Something that's really important, not just if you're a listing agent, but also if you're a buyer's agent, is having a transaction coordinator. I can't tell you how much time having a transaction coordinator will save you from doing paperwork, because paperwork is all admin stuff that someone else can handle. Pretty much all transaction coordinators are third-party companies that don't get paid until the transaction closes anyway. So it's not like you're paying out of pocket. One thing that I hear a lot of newer agents say is that they want to do all of the paperwork for the first 3 or 5 or whatever it is transactions because they want to learn. And this is my take on it. You know, it's great that you want to learn all that, but at the same time, your job, if you want to be a top producing high-level agent, your job is not doing paperwork. Your job is getting contracts signed and getting homes sold and then repeating the same thing over again. So the admin stuff and all that paperwork, that is something that anyone can do. So that is why I'm all about having a transaction coordinator, and I tell all of my new agents, please get a TC. Believe me, it's going to save you a lot of time and headache. And if anything, you can just tell the TC that, you know, this is my first transaction, please walk me through everything that you're doing so that I can learn. So you can learn that way, but let them handle all the paperwork. For more tips on working with sellers and working with buyers, make sure to check out these videos right here. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, drop me a comment. Let me know what else you want to see regarding working with sellers. With that being said, I will see you on the next one.